So my attorneys come to me and they tell me, so you got two choices: 5 years in jail and innocent, or 1 year in jail and guilty.
So they held him for 10 months and then essentially put him in a room with a bright light in his face and said, hey, so you'd like to go free, right? I think your daughter was born, a couple of weeks ago. Would you like to go see your daughter?
So if I say 2 + 2 is 4, I stay in jail for 5 years. But if I admit 2 + 2 is 5, I go home tomorrow. And he says, listen, you can always reverse your plea agreement. As long as you reverse it before sentencing, you're good. So I'm like, great, 2 + 2 is 5. Sign the piece of paper, they let me go.
Seems like an obvious choice to me. I think anyone would decide to put the ankle bracelet on and go see their newborn, wouldn't you?
Liberty, 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 liberty. You know your song.
He really loves his kids, which was one of the main reasons from what I could tell that he took this deal so quickly. He wanted to see his children.
So then I have to send in all this paperwork saying I'm reversing the autograph on the plea statement so that I can actually get my trial. And it's been 6 years. And I had this ankle bracelet on, waiting and waiting and waiting. And the government keeps pushing it out, pushing it out. We've gone through 12 prosecutors now. The prosecutors have put on the docket that they cannot take this to trial. They don't have victims to testify. I mean, I read the pretrial sentence report, and it said, accordingly, whether defendant's conduct caused harm to any victim is irrelevant. They can't take me to trial. For there to be a crime, there has to be a victim. No victim, no crime. I can understand why we've gone through now 12 prosecutors is because prosecutors want to take on cases they can win. And the judges keep just stamping, rubber stamping it.
What's really crazy is if Joby was convicted of this crime, his sentence was 5 years.
The max sentence was 5 years. That's the max, 0 to 5. It's been 2,100 days.
He's been under house arrest, not able to leave his house for 6 years.
Joby Weeks holds the world record for the human being who's been on house arrest with an ankle bracelet for 6 years without a trial.
I can't go anywhere or do anything, or have a phone or a computer, or even hold a remote control to a TV. I can't go to church or weddings and funerals with my close family members and friends. I can't have a job to support my family. I can't have a bank account. I can't use crypto. I can't even go outside to get fresh air. It's all a psychological thing. This ankle bracelet goes off at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I hit it again, and then it goes off at 4 in the morning. And I hit it and beeps again, it goes off at 5 in the morning, at 6 in the morning. My wife can't sleep. It affects my little child who's trying to sleep. Somebody's sitting there just pressing the button on this thing, I'm telling you. Who did I harm to justify this treatment? Why can't I be a father to my 2 kids? Who's doing this to me?
Well, be warned tonight, the Biden administration cracking down on cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin.
The Justice Department has announced its largest ever financial seizure. We're talking billions in Bitcoin.
But with the price of Bitcoin tripling in value just since then, it's turned to be a significant windfall for the government.
I saw a quote yesterday that said, all the leftover lawfare from the Biden regime when it comes to crypto, all the victims have been made whole. And I said, well, wait a minute, no, there's still a few. And Joby Weeks is one of them.
I started to do a deep dive into his case. We could not find a single peripheral promoter that had ever been charged before. I brought this to the attention of Professor Alan Dershowitz, and we collaborated in pulling together a white paper.
This is not simply about cryptocurrency, it's about the Constitution. The white paper documents a cascade of process failures that, taken together, strip this case of legitimacy. Number 1, retroactive charging. Weeks was indicted under securities theories that did not exist at the time of his conduct. Number 2, selective prosecution. Number 3, indiscriminate conspiracy liability. Number 4, asset seizures without safeguards. Number 5, systematic discovery violations. Number 6, absence of victims and restitution. Despite repeated claims, the government identified no verified victims pre-plea and never attempted restitution. Number 7, unsettled regulatory backdrop. Number 8, erosion of speedy trial protections. By the DOJ's own current standards, this case would not go forward today. Checkmate.
I noticed all kinds of missing documents, like chain of evidence logs weren't right. At a minimum, he had over 1,000 Bitcoin seized from him. And then they kind of just vanish.
Now we got a government more dangerous to our liberties and freedoms than the enemy claims to be protecting us from. A government big enough to give you everything you want is also strong enough to take away everything you got. But the problem is truth is treason in an empire of lies, So every time that I make a request with the court to do something, the government responds by trying to throw me in jail for some kind of bail violation. They say, "You tested positive for cocaine, Your Honor." Now, I've been getting drug tests twice a week for 4 years. Never failed a drug test. This has nothing to do with drugs, by the way. So after I saw that they said I failed a drug test, I requested they prove it. And they continued to respond with silence. I decided to take it upon myself to do a hair test. The hair will actually hold the drugs in your hair for up to a year. And it just came back completely negative for all drugs. Cocaine, opioids, methamphetamines, marijuana, no drugs, negative.
The reason we use gratitude, by the way, is the two emotions that mess us up most is anger and fear. And you can't be grateful and angry simultaneously. It's the antidote.
I have a 3-month-old baby right now. He's the cutest little thing ever. And as a father, I can't engage. I can't go down and teach him how to go swimming, even though we live on the beach. At least I can be with him, whereas with my daughter, Liberty, I was taken away from her, and it was a horrible thing. How do you explain it to a 6-year-old little girl? How do you explain that your daddy helped a whole lot of people get free, and in retaliation, he was attacked? She's only ever known me on house arrest. That's it. She was so sad last time I saw her. And I'm like, honey, you cannot be mad at your mother for any of this. You can't be mad at me for any of this. The people that you need to hold that anger for, if you need to hold anger, are the people responsible for destroying our family. I've already forgiven them because that's the best way to ground and release. You don't want to hold hate, because hate is poison that you drink thinking it's going to harm the other person. So I thought I'd put up some pictures if at any time I start feeling a little depressed or something. I can remember that I had a great life, and I'll have a great life again soon, hopefully. This is my daughter, Liberty. She's turning 7 this month. Here's me and Legendary hanging out, Bitcoining it out. This was a funny night with my mom. This is what I proposed to Dasha. That's my dad and I climbing Mount Ararat. Me and Dr. Ron Paul, Dr. Liberty we call him. The Vatican flew me out to meet the Pope and talk about the blockchain. One time I bought a submarine and took Richard Branson to the bottom of the Blue Lagoon. So we bought a 747, we turned it in a nightclub and brought it to Burning Man. That was cool. I spent a lot of Bitcoin on that one. RFK Jr., he's a stud, love the guy. Anthony Bourdain, he was a cool guy. Live free or die, Bitcoin in New Hampshire. Charlie Shrim set up the first Bitcoin exchange called BitInstant back in the day. And they threw him in jail too. Horrible, they just attacked everybody that got in early on crypto. Government, 1 star, very bad, would not recommend. They can take your car, they can take your house, they can take your freedom, they can take your bank account, but they can't take your memories.
When I met Joby, I immediately could feel his genuine enthusiasm for life despite his ludicrous circumstances. To be able to find happiness even in the darkest moments, I'm sure he wasn't like bubbling with joy while he was in solitary confinement, but regardless of the fact that you can't leave the house, you can't work out, you can't go to the mailbox,
You can't go on a date.
you can't go on a honeymoon. I don't understand how it is that the judge just continuously allows us to go on and on.
It's kind of wild. I mean, I went from going to hundreds of countries a year for 15 straight years to being locked in a box and isolated. That would normally break most people. I mean, that's why they put people in solitary confinement, to break people. But when you have complete control over your mind, you become unbreakable.
It's President Trump today signing the landmark Genius Act into law. It's the first major piece of crypto legislation in U.S. history.
The SEC said Thursday that proof of work crypto mining, as seen with Bitcoin and Dogecoin, does not fall under its definition of securities.
Yeah, you can't punish someone for being early, and you can't punish someone for being right. What Joby was doing, mining Bitcoin, not only were there no laws against this, but today there are people who are starting Bitcoin mining companies in America and ringing the bell on the NASDAQ floor.
And with the Genius Act coming through and essentially, for all intents and purposes, clearing Joby, I plead with anyone to facilitate his release as soon as possible so he can spend time freely with his family and not have to worry about someone kidnapping him in the middle of the night.
The best way out of this is to dismiss the charges, give him his belongings back, and let him get back to doing good works for humanity.
I still have a lot of friends that believe in me and want to do business with me, and they all know I'm innocent, which is great. Because, most people, if they ripped off 1 million people and stole $700 million, they wouldn't have any friends left.
To believe that Mr. Weeks had criminal fraudulent intent, you have to believe that he set out to defraud his close friends, his close business associates, his closest family members, including his parents, cousins. Doesn't make any sense. Meanwhile, they all made robust returns.
We're in America, we have a responsibility. There's people all over, 40,000 people a day die of starvation. It takes money to fix that. Sick and poor people can't help as many sick and poor people as rich and healthy people can. You have a responsibility. You live in this country. You can leverage yourself. You can use technology. Get yourself rich so you can bless other people. And I'm telling you, if you need money, you give it first.